This is Skye with FNN-Feminist News Network's Feminist News of Today weekly news wrap-up. This is March 10th, 2018, and I'm talking about International Women's Day. That was March 8th. And it was a glorious day for women all around the world. A day of solidarity, a day of gathering, a day of change, and a day of awareness. Nationally, things went on, protests were done, rallies were held, marches were walked in New York, LA, and all across America from Florida to Texas. And in Hawaii, there was gathering at the local state capitol. And there was other gatherings all across America, like in Spain, they had their first women's strike where the mayor of Madrid and the mayor of Barcelona both were a part of the strike. There was rallies and protests held everywhere, like on the Syrian-Turkish border, the women got together and prayed. In Nigeria, the women had a conference on genital mutilation of women and violence against girls, where there's a lot of kidnappings going on in that area. And the women of Kabul, Afghanistan gathered, and women even risked their lives in Iran, 2 years in jail for doing their take off the hijab movement that started in December. Good going for those women. Keep up the faith. They're working hard to create change, so if Saudi Arabia can allow women to drive, one day Iran will rise. So and across America, there was some co-opting by corporate monsters like McDonald's that were taking their M's and turning them upside down. Well, if you want to make Wonder Women out of them, give them their $15 an hour, allow them to unionize and be able to have more sick days and better health care, instead of going to the public system that's trying to get rid of them and turn them in. So help the dreamers, help your workers, don't placate. You know who I'm talking to, McDonald's. Now, in other news around the world, for Women's Day, there were a lot of gatherings. Women, let me give you a little history real quick. Let me catch up. It started in 1909 with the Feminist Socialist Party, and then Teresa McHale in 1910 took off with it internationally, and it was International Women's Day to Strike, which was revitalized in 2016 in Poland against abortion ban and violence against women. So with that revitalization, it took over and collaborated with the Me Too movement and and other movements like 1 Billion Women Rising, and became what it is today, which is a powerhouse gathering of women collectively, trying to create awareness and make the world better and more equal and more fair, because we know that 75% of all teachers are women, 80% of all nurses are women, and in the service industry, it's mainly women. In the hospitality industry, the women that clean up your rooms, it's mainly women. We have a right to organize. We have a right to get fair wage and fair pay. And in some cases, you need to recognize that women lead the way. So get it together, people. It's time for the women to rise. All right. Okay. And with that said, it was a great gathering around the world. And what did you do for International Women's Day? Let me know. contact me at FeministNewsN@gmail.com and let me know what you did on that day. And also, let me know what you think. All right. So with that said, let's move on. All right. Let's take a look now at some of the rallies and protests that went on during Women's International Day.
We mark today as a day of resistance to all that we are seeing that is happening in Pakistan, especially against women, the violence that we see every day.
A lot of good stuff going on, yeah? It sure was. It shows the strength of all women everywhere. The ability to create change is great now during the time of Trump. All right. So with that said, let's move on. I love Democracy Now! Amy Goodman, been listening to them since they've been on radio in the 90s. And I came across a segment they had most recently about overlooked women left that were part of history and should be more part of our consciousness and admired more within history, were left out of the obituaries of a white-ran New York Times since 1851. So people like Sylvia Plath's been left out and many others. So there's a new millennial editor for the obituaries now that it's gone digital. I'll give you her name later, it escapes me. But she is doing awesome. She's taking on upon the volunteering of other writers within the department and outside of the department at the New York Times to create women that have been left out. So every Sunday, starting this Sunday, they're going to have a list of 15 add one, take away one every Sunday that mention women that should have been in there, because mainly it was nothing but a socialite page for rich white men that died to make them feel good like they left something when really they just pillaged and raped the world. But anyway, so they'll have good women like Ida B. Wells, Henrietta Lacks, Sylvia Plath, um, um, who else will be on there? Oh, I don't want to leave out Ida Lovelace, the first computer engineer that helped women show that we are the STEM. All right? Yeah. And other women like Emily Roebling, who was an engineer on the Brooklyn Bridge, Mary Outerbridge, who brought tennis to the U.S., Nella Carson, a writer, Mahabala, Bollywood movie star, and Su Chen, who was China's Joan of Arc. You know, these are all fabulous women, not to be overlooked, not to be left out, like Diane Arbus, who was a photographer that made the ordinary to the everyday, to what you don't see every day, be beautiful in all eyes. And these women are to be admired. These women are to be honored. Who else would see lynching done in her own home and take it, run, spread the word, write about it everywhere, and lead a crusade against lynching? Ida B. Wells did. And she was a damn good journalist. Women to not be overlooked. If it wasn't for Henrietta Lacks, whose generative cells repeatedly helped millions with all types of diseases that have been cured and still being cured today using her. Because of this, at NIH, you must sign an agreement where if they do find a cure using your cells, they have to let you know. I know because I was cured at NIH and I signed that agreement. Now, keeping up and getting that information is another thing. Now, with that said, New York Times is doing a great thing. Check it out this Sunday. Give it a look. It's, my unsolicited pick of the week. It's great to watch, and that so many women are now getting their just due, that are getting their recognition. Now, when this comes to Oscar, when this comes to the Pulitzer, when this comes to the Nobel Prize, maybe more women will be recognized. And with that said, thank you for watching the start of a new Feminist News Network, Feminist News of the Day, with our weekly wrap-up, and may I be able to do more videos like this and get better at it, and as I go along, you'll go along with me, and together we'll ride this wave. All right, so if you want to donate, help out, send suggestions, contact me at FeministNewsN@gmail.com. If you got something negative to say, keep it to yourself, because I'll be deleting those quickly, but or maybe I'll read them then delete them, I don't know. But just to keep it light, keep it right, and thank you for watching tonight.